Hi, good evening to Dr. Nadia. These are my teammates. Today we will be presenting about Seoul bike sharing demand. Enjoy! So basically, the contents included are introductions, literature review, methodology, data analysis, and conclusion. I will now continue with the introduction. Over time, the use of private vehicles is increasing, causing an increase in fuel consumption, leading to a climate change. In order to resolve this, government and related organizations launched a bicycle sharing system as part of their efforts to promote sustainability, development, and enhance mobility comfort, so that it can address public transportation issues, gives individuals the freedom to use a bike from any station and return it to a place of their choice. The study proposes a data mining-based approach to predict the overall urban public bicycle demand using secondary data. A rule-based algorithm is used to predict the quantity of rental bikes needed each hour, considering the increased use of rental bikes due to smart technology and convenience. Moving on, these are the problem statements, research questions, hypothesis of study, and significance of study.
Next is literature review. As a green and effective means of transportation, bike sharing programs have grown in popularity all over the world. In order to address transportation issues and encourage ecological friendly travel, Seoul, the capital of South Korea, has established its own bike sharing program. This review of the literature intends to investigate the variables affecting Seoul demand for bike sharing and to highlight significant findings from earlier investigation in this field. First is bike sharing system characteristic. Several studies has examined the impact of bike sharing system characteristics on user demand. Wang et al. 2018 found that factors such as the number of stations, bike availability, and proximity to public transit significantly influence a bike sharing demand. They conclude that a well-designed and extensive network of stations contribute to increased usage. Second is socio-economic factors. Several studies has examined the influence of socio-economic factors on bike sharing demand. Choi and Hong 2017 investigate the relationship between income and bike sharing usage in Seoul. They discovered that income level positively correlated with bike sharing demand, indicating that higher income individuals were more likely to use the system. And the last one is built environment and infrastructure. The built environment and infrastructure play a crucial role in determining bike sharing demand. Kim et al. 2020 investigated the impact of bike lane density, accessibility to parks, and land use mix on bike sharing demand in Seoul. They found that areas with well-connected bike lanes, close proximity to parks, and diverse land use patterns experience higher bike sharing demand.
Next is methodology. The research design adopted for this study is based on exploratory data and secondary research data. The data collection method used is qualitative research, where the relationship between the data included in the table is observed. The sampling design used is purposive sampling, where a sampling size of 365 times within a year based on the variables The sample is a subset of the target population, which is bike users in the city of Seoul. The research instrument used is data retrieved from rental bike count, and the data analysis is done by using SPSS.
Next is data analysis. So first of all, we need to do data cleaning. So this is our raw data and it's stated null there. So actually when there is a other form than the numeric form in the data, we cannot put in SPSS because it will turn out error. So the things that we need to change is change the null into 0. And then other than that, we can check our missing value in frequencies where we put all our data, and the frequencies will tell us if there are any missing data in each variable. But for Seoul bike, there is no missing variable, so it's stated 0 there. So next is descriptive statistics. So this summarize our data in a meaningful way. So it will enable us to generate insight from it, and it will tell us about the mean, about the center of our data, and also standard deviation. So we can see here that when standard deviation is higher than 0.5, it tells us that the value are generally far from our mean, which is also means that the data range is wide. And also, if the standard deviation is low, it can tell us that the value are clustered close to the mean. So we can see that the temperature have the high standard deviation, also the wind speed. But for rainfall, the data value is clustered close to the mean. So next is the normality test. So this test is to test is it our data is normally distributed or not. So there are two types of tests that we can use using the Kolmogorov or Shapiro. And you can see that the significant value or p-value here is 0. And as stated that p-value if less than 0.05, then the data actually normally distribute. But in this case, our data is not normally distribute. So actually, if the data is distributed, normally the graph of histogram will look like a bell, but this one have the different types of not really the bell. So here with this test, we can see that the significant value shows that all this data, all these variable have not significantly distributed.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, now I will continue the correlation analysis. So from our previous normality test, we found out that this data is not normally distributed. Therefore, it is a non-parametric statistics. So for correlation analysis, we need to use Spearman rule because the data is not normally distributed. We use Spearman rule to determine the relationship between two rank order variables instead of using Pearson. Okay, next, our first variable is temperature. So from the result that we use from SPSS, we found out that the correlation for temperature is significant. Therefore, there is a relationship between temperature and the bite count. So the Spearman rule coefficient also we get 0.663. It shows a positive and strong relationship between temperature and the bite count. So what we can conclude from this, as the temperature increase, the number of the bite count also will increase. Okay, moving on to the next variable, which is wind speed. So based from the result we got from SPSS, there is no linear relationship between wind speed and the bike count. So the Spearman rule coefficient also negative 0.1, which is it shows a strong negative relationship between wind speed and the bike count. So what we can conclude from this, the number of bike count will be not affected by the wind speed. Next, our third variable, which is rainfall. Based from the result we get from SPSS, we found out that there is the correlation is for this data is significant. Therefore, there is a relationship between rainfall and the bite count. However, the Spearman rule coefficient for this data is negative 0.187, which is it shows a weak relationship between rainfall and the bite count. So what we can conclude from this, as the rainfall increase, the number of the bite count will decrease, which means that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sita Kanabati. My matrix number is 205190. Today I'll be presenting the regression analysis. So basically this is the table that I have concluded through SPSS. I have transformed the data of Seoul bike into SPSS, and this is the regression analysis. So we'll start with the temperature. For the beta of the temperature is 643.537. And for the T is 19.736, and the p-value is smaller than 0.05. For the wind speed, the beta is 84.157, and the T is negative 0.13, and the p-value is 0.93, which is larger than 0.05. For the rainfall, the beta is negative 6,557.536, and the p-value is smaller than 0.05. Here, I could conclude that temperature has the strong value to influence the bite count. For the temperature index, increased by 1 of every change of temperature, which is 643.537 change in the index of bite count. For the wind speed, increased by 84.157 by 1 of every change of wind speed. 84.157 change in the index of bite count. For the rainfall, decreased by 1 of every change of rainfall. Rainfall decreases by 6,557.536. For the standardized beta, increased by 0.722 in one standard deviation and decreases negative 0.05 and negative 0.314. From the R2, we can conclude that the amount of variance in Y explained by X is about 55.6%. That's all for my part. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
In conclusion, the popularity of Seoul bike sharing program has significantly increased. The popularity of bike sharing has increased consistently over time, demonstrating both locals and tourists' favorable reaction. Additionally, bike sharing has gained popularity as a way to advance fitness and good health. For entertainment, fitness, and visiting a diversity attractions and picturesque location, many local and visitors use bike sharing. Infrastructures, upgrades, and the availability of bike lanes have also helped to meet demand. That's all from our group. Thank you.